It was a sunny day in San Francisco when I made the decision to call my best friend's parents. It had been a long time since we had left to serve in the Vietnam War, and we were finally on our way back home. But this call would be different from the others. There was something important I needed to tell them, something that had been weighing on my heart since we left Vietnam. So I called my best friend's parents and said, "Hello, Mrs. White," I began with a nervous voice. "We are back from the war, and I wanted to call you to ask for a favor, as your son is too embarrassed to tell you. As you know, my parents have passed away, and I have nowhere to go. So, I was wondering if you could take me in." There was a brief silence on the other end of the line before Mrs. White responded, "Of course, we would love for you to stay with us." I breathed a sigh of relief at her response and continued, "I was injured in the war, lost an arm and a leg. I have nowhere else to go, and I want to stay with you." Mrs. White tried to sound understanding, but her words revealed her concern. "I'm so sorry to hear that. Maybe we can find a place or an institution where you can stay and receive proper care." "No, Mrs. White," I insisted determinedly. "I want to stay at your house." I could feel the tension over the phone as my friend's parents exchanged worried words. Finally, the father spoke. "Listen, you don't know what you're asking for. Someone who is physically limited can be a significant burden for us. We have our own lives. You should go back to your home and find a way to live as best as you can." At that moment, my eyes welled up with tears as I hung up the phone. I knew this conversation would be difficult, but I didn't expect their response to be like this. Days later, I received devastating news. I got a call from the San Francisco police, and they believed it was a suicide. So, I took a flight to San Francisco. It was then that I was met with an unexpected surprise when I identified my friend's body. So, in the midst of my anguish, I called his parents to deliver the news that their son had passed away. When they turned on the TV, they realized that he had only one arm and one leg. They didn't know that in my desperate attempt to help my friend, I'd called them to seek help for him. The sacrifice I had made in the name of friendship and compassion finally reached them through a painful twist of fate. My friend would never forget what I had done for him, and I hoped that somehow he could find peace and refuge with his loved ones, which sadly never happened. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. Proverbs 17:17.